We're coming to you from your favorite neighborhood milk estates. We're getting ready to do all things draft on Thursday. Yay! So I even wore my Kelsey shirt.
Oh, I should have worn my Brock Bowers t-shirt. Dang it.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of hoping you were going to wear something football-ish, but it's okay. We can do it next week and talk about like the picks.
Oh, yeah.
And review that. Yeah. Okay.
Because I'll be excited to see who the Rams pick and everything too. So.
Yeah, me too. Okay. So you can listen to us at rationalmoms.com or find us at Spotify or Apple. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. Okay, so this week we had a live yesterday. What did you guys think of the live?
It was super fun.
So fun.
Trish was bouncing the whole time, so you could tell she was having a good time.
Right? Somebody was like, "Oh, she has to pee." I'm like, "No, bro, I've got snacks. Why don't you leave me alone?"
I'm an adult. I don't bounce when I have to pee. It's for snacks.
I'm just excited that I get to eat.
Right? Like, wouldn't bouncing make you have to pee more? Like,
right? I think the better part of that Coke float or Pepsi float, I guess we'll call it, was like when you get to the bottom and it's like kind of a more ice cream than it is Coke.
You really need to try a root beer float. Seriously.
I just can't believe you used Pepsi instead of Coke.
Well, that was all I had. I don't drink soda. I literally, that's
Pepsi's
like a very
nasty.
rare.
I mean, I've never had a Pepsi or cola.
I'm from Texas. Okay, RC Cola and a Moon Pie would be all right with me if I had that.
Georgia, Coke's in Atlanta, so Georgia, there's Coke at everything. I think there might be one place in Georgia that has Pepsi and no more. Everyone has Coke.
I prefer Coke over Pepsi too.
Yeah, it's way better. Pepsi tastes, if you're going to drink Pepsi, it's like, to me, tastes like Diet Coke. It tastes like artificial and chemically to me, whereas Coke is just sugary.
Yeah, but it has like a strong, like aftertaste. It's like bites you.
Yeah, like chemically. That's like how Diet Coke is. It's nasty.
Yeah.
Yep. You gotta go for the Mexican Coke. It's made with real sugar and not corn syrup. It's the best one.
Hey, I would try that.
It's delicious.
All right,
drink a soda. Yep.
Okay. Well, maybe we should have like a Coke contest.
Well, Dr. Pepper's gonna win.
I do love Dr. Pepper too. That's my thing. Yes.
Wait, have you seen that Dr. Pepper in wine, I think? Have you seen that? You should try a little bit of that.
Ew.
It's like red. I don't know if it's red wine, but it's wine and Dr. Pepper, I think.
What kind? What in the hillbilly?
I'll look it up. But a lot of people were like, "What?" Obviously, I don't really drink. So
that's what you drink when you go hillbilly hand fishing or something. You mix Dr. Pepper with your Boone's Farm.
Oh God,
that sounds so
okay.
Bad.
Or Dr. Pepper and Zima or something like that, right? All right. So we do have Triss's snack of the week coming up. We do have a Twitter fan question that wants to ask all things about what's coming up our season with the sun, and then we were going to talk about the draft. Yes, I know. I threw that question in. It's really easy. Don't worry. Okay, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Triss, tell me about your delicious snack.
Somebody,
this came from a fan yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
Somebody on the live yesterday said I needed to do. Well, they said hot sauce. And then you said Cholula, which I mean, Cholula, it says Cholula hot sauce. So is hot sauce.
I would use that over Tabasco. Right?
Well, I had both. I was going to just try.
I don't use either.
I like Cholula better, I think. Yeah.
Is there butter on that popcorn?
It's already pre-buttered popcorn. I didn't add butter. Is that what you're implying? Like, do I need to add it?
Is it microwave popcorn?
Heck yeah, girl. I'm not making this fresh like you. You're a good mom making fresh popcorn.
I mean,
mine's
microwave popcorn is tasty sometimes.
We're gonna just decide. I'm gonna put only just a little bit of this because I don't trust it, to be honest. Something about its face.
This is interesting.
Okay, we're
it's like a delicate operation.
Yeah. Okay, Cholula first. Oh, that's spicy. Yeah, I would recommend to a friend. That's good. Okay,
really?
Let's try. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I guess with the butter on it would be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
I could have salted.
How can you drink plain water with popcorn though? Like you got to have at least some bubbles or something. Like just plain water.
Oh, the Tabasco. I didn't think I would like the Tabasco. They're both pretty good, actually.
You know, Annabelle,
I'm wondering,
can you take and when you melt the butter for the popcorn, add the hot sauce to it?
See, I cook my popcorn in clarified butter, so I don't have to butter it after.
So what about if you added hot sauce to that?
No, I think that would burn.
Okay.
You guys are getting all fancy.
What about if you did it? What about if you added more butter on top, like from their microwave, like microwave the butter? And
I think it would be better to mix if you're going to add hot sauce to get a nice distribution. I would say melt your butter for the popcorn, stir in your hot sauce, and then toss it all in that. I think that would be the way to go.
Ooh.
I don't want to do that because I don't want to eat hot sauce in my popcorn, but that's what I would do if I was making it.
It's pretty good though.
Exactly.
I would definitely try it. It's pretty good.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I might have to. Which one's better?
That's tough. I don't know. I think they're both equally really good. But I may try. I bought the containers of the Taco Bell sauce just in case because they get all stingy with the sauce as if they're paying for it or it's coming out of their check. But regardless, so I get my own sauce. I may have to try that honestly. To say
what
that's good.
What do you mean you bought your own?
Like the mild, like it's got here.
You buy it. You can buy it at the grocery store, like with the hot sauces, like.
Oh, I see.
You can buy a little container of it just like that. It's a Taco Bell hot sauce. I buy it all the time. The mild.
Mild. Taco Bell. Okay. Where's my endorsement or where's my brand endorsement?
I don't think that would be as good on popcorn though.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Because it's like salsa-y or
it's a little more salsa-ish. It's like a little more gravy taste to it.
Let me
gravy.
See if
like
I can
look how it's
not
thick.
It's not.
That doesn't look very good.
Hey, there was a cat called Thicken Nugget online yesterday.
Thicken Nugget too. Oh my gosh. Thicken Nugget is swimming to lose weight. Thicken Nugget was like a beast of a cat. There's another cat that I follow that was called Cinderella the Cinderblock cat, and she was one of the first ones that was like on the water treadmill. And now Thicken Nugget has been swimming, and Thicken Nugget's lost some weight.
But just a name I can't get over.
Thicken Nugget is the best name ever for a fat cat.
I wanted to name our cat T-Bone.
Which one?
Sabbath.
Why?
I thought T-Bone would have been funny.
He's so cute. Sabbath is cute though.
No, T-Bone would have been funny.
Yeah, but Sabbath is a cute name for a cat. It's not like a boring lame name.
T-Bone like a steak or like an
steak,
accident?
Like a
T-Bone like the car accident.
Like a steak.
Can you imagine? What's your cat's name? T-Bone. You know, like the car accident.
Okay, well, what about ribeye? I mean,
ribeye would be good.
Yeah,
I would eat a ribeye right now. I would eat a ribeye right now. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten.
All right. Well, so I'm gonna try that then, Tris. I might do that today. Like after we get off the show because I love my popcorn.
Yeah, I can't tell which one I like better, to be honest. They're both pretty good. Tabasco or Cholula is good.
So, Annabelle, isn't that like when you make a homemade buffalo sauce? Have you ever made one before? Like homemade buffalo sauce, right? Where it's like it's butter and like hot sauce mixed together.
No,
and
I don't make that.
Makes
I don't like it.
Okay. Because I think that's would be similar, like if you mixed it together and then poured it on.
Well, I mean, the reason I would say to do it is just because then everything is distributed nicely and evenly, and it's like basically loosening up this hot sauce.
Yeah.
So then it's going to be flavored more evenly over the popcorn versus just dripping bits of hot sauce on individual kernels of popcorn or whatever,
I don't know. I'm going to try that. Like my mouth is watering right now.
But you don't even butter your popcorn. You don't even butter your popcorn.
No, I cook it in canola oil. There's enough like oil-ish on there with some salt. It's good.
Yeah,
I don't know why the hell anyone wants to taste. No, it's not healthy to just basically lick canola oil. That's disgusting. And it doesn't taste like anything. It tastes like a little bit slimy, and that's all. Like you got to have some flavor. At least I don't use olive oil though. At least olive oil has a good flavor.
I don't like olive oil
at all.
I don't like it. I don't like it in popcorn or in salad dressings because maybe I'm not using the right olive oil. If it's extra light, it's fine. But if it's like too like greenish, it's like has that all like olive, kind of taste.
I mean, yeah, that's why you get the light though, so it doesn't have that.
I don't know. I don't use the light one. My favorite olive oil is this one we use in the restaurant. It's Seca Hills, which is a farm in California. Their olive oil is bomb. I don't know if you've ever had the lemon olive oil sorbet that I make, but I always use their olive oil and it's so good.
Well, I mean, whenever you make popcorn, it's the best, but
yeah, I'm
just not fancy. Like when you're like clarified butter, I'm like, what the heck is that?
Well, the only reason I use the clarified butter is because then the butter doesn't brown because you've removed the milk fat. So basically, or the solids. So when your popcorn is cooking, that means you can cook it in the clarified butter because it's not going to brown and burn while you're cooking. Because if you try to cook in just regular butter, it's going to burn, or at least get dark brown while you're popping the popcorn. So if you use clarified butter, you can cook it in that, and you can make your own. They sell in the grocery store, even regular grocery stores, the ghee or clarified butter, and so that's what I do.
Oh, that's what that's called. Ghee is called clarified butter. I didn't know that. It's all fancy. Is it salted already too, or do you have to get the salted one?
There is a salt that some brands do. The Simple Truth Organic does have a one that has like pink Himalayan salt added. Okay. So that would be really good for popcorn because then you don't really have to add a lot of salt either. Okay. And I've started salting mine in the pan too. So basically, like put the fat, put the kernels, and then sprinkle salt, and then pop it. And then most of the time, if you get it right, it's just done. You don't have to do anything to it.
Oh, I might have to try that.
It's real good.
That's what I'm going to try later. All right. So I think that's like, I have a plan for what I'm going to eat next.
That was our whole podcast was about snacks.
Yes. All right. Okay. So our question of the week comes from a fan on Twitter, and they want to know, what's your favorite thing about summer? This one's kind of easy.
Right? Sundresses, probably. I mean, although it's pretty warm here all the time, so dang it, my laptop's gonna die.
I would say not having to do carpools for school, but my kids still have sports, and early in the morning there's an early AM practice every day, like a 6:30 a.m. Then there's like a midday one, and then there's an afternoon and evening one. So it's like the only difference is I won't have to drive farther to go to one of the kids' schools. So I'm really excited about that.
Okay, so besides that, anything else that you guys look forward to this summer?
No, just the weather. That's it. I hate being cold. I despise being cold. My kids say I have a cold intolerance. It's true.
All right. Well, I'm going to be nice about it and be like, Annabelle, we get to go on vacation together in the
We
summer.
do go on vacation. I mean, that's for sure nice. I guess I was thinking about just like general summer things. We go on vacation, which is fun.
We sit in the pool and drink and lay out. Yeah, those are all the fun things about summer, right?
Birthdays.
I do enjoy those things. Yeah, we do have some birthdays coming up.
There's lots of birthdays in the summer.
Yeah, spring and summer. So yeah, I think that's what I like about summer is just barbecuing, being outside. It's warm at night. You can light the fire, and it's just it's not freezing where I'm having to have a blanket wrapped around me at a game. Or
I know that's true. The morning games are rough when I've got like my ski parka on and a blanket. Yeah. Everyone makes fun of me, but I'm like, I'm cold.
Oh yeah, me too. Or what about the fact that in the summertime, then you're dying of heat? It's so hot, you're sweating everywhere, and it's just like,
I mean, Sacramento is just miserable hot.
It is. All right. What's going on over here?
Sure.
Are you okay?
Just disappeared.
Yeah, I'm good.
Was one of the dogs doing something?
I have just like allergies like crazy right now. I don't know what my deal is.
Yeah.
Okay, so because of the upcoming draft, we decided to postpone our Irrational Moms topic this week because we wanted to talk about like what's all going on with quarterback draft, or who's going to be the top 5 and what's being said about them, and then overall like what's the top like 5 to 10 like players that we think that might get like picked. So I think we should start with the quarterbacks, the top 5 quarterbacks that are out there. So Annabelle, I know you have strong opinions about Caleb Williams.
Well, it's kind of sad because last year I loved watching Caleb Williams play. He was just doing some crazy ballsy stuff, making plays, running all over the place. I was so impressed with him. I think that he's been overshadowed by his behavior and that of how he's being managed by his dad. Because I don't think he has an agent. And
no, he has no agent from what I know. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I just think, I'm a parent, had parents. I think there's no way a parent can be the best agent for a child. And this is not specific to him or anyone else. There's just no way. You need someone, just like with anything else. Like when I die, the person that's going to be executor of my estate is not going to be my children. You pick someone who can do it without emotion, right? You need someone. I'm just throwing that as an example because it came up in a family chat recently where we were all like revising our stuff. So why are you going to let your emotionally invested parent make these choices, especially when you're getting lots of flack for it?
That's the same as that's the same as if you're a lawyer, you don't do your own contracts, right? Exactly. You hire somebody else because you want to you have to take yourself out of that situation because there is too much emotion in that, right? And so I totally agree with you because his father is going to be like, I need this for my child. And he's not seeing the overall picture of like what it is. I mean, I know from what I've read, his dad's like a successful businessman, but that doesn't translate into you being a sports agent and knowing what's best for your child.
And for your own child. Right, exactly. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with him and he's not brilliant, but even a contract lawyer isn't going to do their own contracts. They're still going to have someone in their firm or someone they trust do their contracts. So to me, it's the same thing. Like there's just no reason to be doing that other than you really have an ego issue. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out with Caleb. I mean, this isn't even connected to how he plays because nobody knows if a lot of people think he's going to be a bust anyway. But for me, it's going to be interesting to see if once he's in the league, if these distractions go away and if his dad takes a back seat and kind of just let him develop himself, or how his attitude is going to be, because he has taken the draft process basically as casually as he wants to. He's hardly participated in anything because he already knows he's going to be the number one pick. I think we talked about this yesterday in our live, but he basically tried to tank his stock and it didn't work. I also wonder if his dad's meddling was a strategy to make teams not want to take him. So that's another thing. So that's why I think once he's in the league, we're not going to know a lot till he's in the league and actually playing, because there's so many things that could just be who they are, or it could be distractions because they wanted him to go to a better team.
Well, do you also think that because he's coming in as the first like NIL quarterback who's like already has made like millions of dollars, that he has this already arrogance about him, thinking that, hey, I made all this money, it should then translate over to the NFL.
Well,
right?
I mean, as a first round draft pick, he's going to get a good contract anyway. The first 10 guys to go are going to have good rookie contracts.
Yeah. I'm not wishing anybody to do bad at all. I just want him to be humbled in some way. I feel like he needs just
I think he just like everyone else, he's going to have those welcome to the NFL moments where you get out there and you're like, whoa. I think it may happen less to some players, like SEC players who have been playing against big grown ass men already. I don't think Caleb has faced the type of competition that anywhere near that he's going to see in the NFL. So, I mean, who knows? And that's not knocking him. That's just a reality for a lot of people, right? If you aren't playing in a super tough conference against big boys coming after you, you're able to run around and scramble. God,
I saw something with, like, if you could successfully go up against Georgia line, you probably can handle some of the people.
Right. You're going to have a better chance. I feel like kids that play in those systems, you can more accurately predict that they'll be okay in the league if they've already been doing. But even then, it's not the same, right? Because not all those guys are going into the NFL and are NFL caliber. I mean, for teams like Alabama and Georgia, a lot of those guys will be, and they're good enough. So I don't know. The Caleb thing is just fascinating to me because he just doesn't care. Like, he didn't even do all his interviews. He took some time off from training and went to somewhere with his girlfriend out of the country. Yeah, he's just like, I don't care. Mm-hmm. But like also, the guys on your generation.
The guys on your team have to back you up. Like, so there's a fine line between being cocky and being confident, and it's great to walk that line. You have a little bit of mixture of both, but I think if you come off too much of an a-hole, then these guys are not going to put themselves in the way to protect you necessarily. I know it's part of their job.
And he hasn't proven himself, right? There's like, I think there's a level of being humble,
right?
To like when you're walking into like a new environment and be like, okay, yeah, I am good. And having that, like you said, an air of like confidence about you. But then at the same time, you need to be humble to everybody around you that these people have been playing. They're the ones that are going to have your back. Your O-line, right? So if you're going in there and you're like, I deserve all this, I made all this money, it's like all you're going to do is turn them off. They're going to be like, who the hell are you? You haven't proven anything, right? I mean, they do that.
And that's why I wonder if it's not a bit of an act that was like, if he's going to go in the league and be normal once he gets there and not act like a spoiled little millennial. It's not even a millennial. What do they call the kids that are in that age range?
Is it Gen Z or something, or what? I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But the subset of population that he's in, whatever that age range is called, they're like that. So
but it doesn't help that the NIL actually, like, because of like what's happened, that he has all this money. So he's already like thinks that he deserves it, right? And he thinks that he's a big shot. And it's like, well, you haven't proven anything. I mean, yeah, you look good out there on tape, but can you actually, like you said, can you translate that? Did you? I guess he's big in painting his fingernails. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, he paints his fingernails. See, stuff like that to me is for this generation is totally normal. So, there's a bunch of old curmudgeons at home that are really bothered by this. I really don't care because if you're going on my team, I want you to be good and be a winner. I don't give a crap what you do with your fingernails or your hair or whatever else. I mean,
I just want to know, can you just make sure you color coordinate them with your outfit?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, MLB catchers will paint their nails, or historically they would paint nails so they could see the signs better. Now that most of them use the little thing on their knee, they punch in the pitches, but I personally don't think that's as big of a deal. We'll see. I kind of hope that his arrogance is somewhat of an act that him and his dad just did because they wanted, maybe to not go to the Bears, but we'll see.
But I don't know. I mean, he was there, right? He's been talking to them, and he's been
he knows he's going there.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and then they've actually got a couple new coaches too, and they're trying to beef up their offensive line for him. So
I just think for
why couldn't they do that for Justin Fields though?
Well, I don't know, and I'm like, yeah, why not?
So, I mean, you're trying to not go to this team, and now the people that are on that team, I just don't see how there's any way that they're not looking at you like you're kind of a punk.
Right. Like, oh, you little, what? You're coming in.
You didn't want to come to our team because we're so bad and you're so good. Is right.
What I know. I mean, that would actually rub me the wrong way of hey, you've already made all this money and you think you're too good for us.
Well, what I wonder is, do the players understand that the problems with the Bears, the problem you would have if you're, say, Caleb Williams, is not with the team, the players. The problem is the organization itself, like the ownership and the management and the coaches. Like, that's where the flaws are. So I wonder if those players are able to separate that out and understand why someone wouldn't want to go there. Do you know what I mean? It's not necessarily the play of the players, because all those same players could be a lot better with different coaching staff. Maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not trying to hate on the Bears, but
no. Okay, so before we move on to our next quarterback, we do need to talk about his hand size, because this is a thing with quarterbacks.
Are you talking about JJ McCarthy with the small hands?
Well, no, I'm talking about Caleb.
Oh, his hands are small hands?
No, they're 9 3/4 inches. So I guess, I don't know, is that considered
is that
small?
long?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's small, I think, because JJ McCarthy's are 9 inches, and that's tiny.
So 9. So he just got over that. Okay, but also they talk about he is kind of I don't know. He's kind of on the smaller side for a quarterback. He's only 6'1".
Yeah, which, I mean, he's not too tiny. I think they like guys. The scouts are going to like a guy that's 6'4" with a big booty. That's who the scouts are going to like. Somebody that looks like Josh Allen. That's what they want there, or looks like Lamar Jackson. That's what you want your quarterback, the size. They want you to be substantial and also be able to run, right? And so
substantial.
I mean, because when you're tiny, it's a little harder. Bryce Young can't even do a quarterback sneak because he's so tiny. So
he's like 5'10".
And I like Bryce Young.
My kid's height. I'm like, that's kind of small.
Yeah, both my kids are that big or bigger. So, it definitely the size matters. But I mean, I don't think he's so small that it's a problem. The way some guys are. You know what I mean?
This is the only time that we say size matters. For the most part.
All right. So let's go on to our our number 2 projected quarterback that's going to go. Do you want to go ahead and talk
Who do you think it is? It's Jaden Daniels, isn't it?
Yep, it's Jaden Daniels.
Yep, from LSU. I think
Heisman Trophy winner. Yes.
I saw him described as, and no hate to him, as the poor man's Lamar Jackson.
Oh, I saw that too. Yes.
And I love Lamar Jackson, so I'm like, maybe, because the thing about him is he's I don't know. I feel he's the one I feel like I have the least idea of what he's going to actually do in the NFL.
What's the ideal hand size then for for a quarterback?
I actually don't know that answer to that.
Oh,
maybe producer Matt can look that up for us.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, and I was going over and I was reading this. What is the ideal?
Yeah.
Okay, so going back to you're saying the poor man's Lamar Jackson, but they're also saying he's really skinny.
He is thin. He was bigger. I think he was bigger at the combine, but he was Like somehow he bulked up like 30 pounds or something?
Well, he didn't weigh in at all at the combine.
Oh, he didn't weigh. That's
No.
why. Oh, okay.
And they're like, it's all because it's by effing design. He's effing skinny.
But everyone
and I
knows
was
he's skinny. Like, it doesn't matter.
come
We can look at you and tell you're skinny. And he doesn't have that big bubble butt. So how is he going to really be an explosive player? I don't know.
The average hand size for the 39 quarterbacks taken in the first round from 2008 to 2020 is 9.7 inches.
Okay, so it's still in the nines. It's just
still in the nines. Yeah, they just wanted a little.
Right.
So I guess they want big hands. I mean, okay. So the one thing I did like about him was that he did go to Arizona State.
Yeah, he played there for 2 or 3 years, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Did he only play 1 year at LSU? I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but I just know that he went there and there was like some drama with his mama.
Oh, right. That's the other thing about him is like, does he have a problem parent as well? His mom was involved in some sort of illegal something with recruits.
Yeah, bringing recruits in. So I don't really know
Parents,
the story about that.
Parents,
Stay
get out of your kids' business.
Yes.
Get out of there. You're not helping.
Well, even with my kids now, like when they're playing sports, I'm like, hey, if you want to get better, I even tell them, what is that?
I'm sorry. Are you hearing the jingle? Is that?
Yeah.
Is there an ice cream truck in front of your house, Tris?
I know. Do
Man,
you need to go get an ice cream?
I wish. I'm sorry. My washer, like, whenever the washer finishes, it plays an entire freaking song, like a
You can
whole
turn that
chorus
off.
and everything. I'm sure I can. I don't know. I've messed around with the little dials and
Oh my God,
it's all
that's
like
terrible.
AI and
That is terrible.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I just like always when the jingle goes off.
Crystal's dishwasher does something like that.
Oh, in my wash machine, it's like
Yeah.
those Samsungs, like they're like they have like a song to them.
Why in the world do I want my appliances playing music randomly?
Okay,
That's insane.
it's a Korean
It's insane.
company that does. I don't know. I
It's
mean, that's
insane.
just must have.
It's like your clothes are done. Get them out.
Yep.
I know, but
Get
like
out.
that's just annoying. I hate.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, so our third ranked quarterback is out of North Carolina, but he's only a sophomore, so I don't know a lot about him. But Drake,
Really?
I think he might be the biggest bust amongst quarterbacks, and his draft stock has risen. But I'm just gonna say, that dude is not ready to play in the NFL next year. I think they like him. He's big. We were saying a minute ago.
oh yeah,
he's like Josh
6'4".
Allen size.
Yeah.
Is he like
Yeah,
a
so they like
fifth
him
year
'cause he's
sophomore or something? Or
big.
why?
Well, I mean, there's some scouts that are
is he
saying
really just a sophomore? Isn't he like 24?
they're saying he's a. I don't know.
That's why I'm like fifth. Is he like a fifth year? or
No,
something? Maybe
he's
that's
only
different.
20. He's 21. He's 21.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, there's still some. I mean, that's the whole.
He was
thing about-
redshirted, I think, and so was a redshirt sophomore probably, which means a junior technically. I don't know. Actually, I can't keep up with all that stuff. He's a guy that if he goes and sits behind somebody for 2 years, maybe he'd be all right after that. But
Yeah,
his decision making is bizarre. I mean, it was bizarre to me that he's even considered in the first round after having watched him play. But what do I know? I'm not an expert.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like, so I think what the Patriots, the Commanders were looking at him.
Who's the Patriots quarterback now?
Oh, I think their offensive quarterback that got promoted.
They got rid of Mac Jones.
That's what I thought. So
Oh, sorry. I mean, sorry. I thought you meant their coach.
No, the quarterback, because he's somebody that needs to sit behind somebody. He can't go to the
Yes.
Patriots because they would need him to play immediately. I mean, he
Well,
could go
his
there, and he might, but
Drake May's freshman year, he did redshirt. Was allowed to play a little bit because you're allowed to play.
right.
But his sophomore year, he threw for over 4,300 yards, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So, and he rushed for almost 700 yards and 7 touchdowns.
Right. He was better
I guess.
last year, but the most recent year, he was less good. And I know that was partially because his wide receivers weren't as good, but I don't know.
He had 24 touchdown passes, 9 rushing touchdowns, 9 interceptions. But I get what you're saying. I get that he may not have the experience yet to be an NFL quarterback, but I don't know. I like the rushing
and things like
upside.
that. How many rushing yards did he have? Did he have a lot?
Yeah,
I want to.
2 years ago, 698. This year or last year, 449. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Well, then they
So-
also said he was banged up pretty much, right? this year. So it's like how much does the injuries like deal with, played a part in that, or so
Right.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with him. Yeah, I mean, so I think if he goes, but they're saying like if he goes to the Patriots, he could sit out for a year. But I mean, like you said,
How
Annabelle,
can he
like,
sit out? They don't have a quarterback.
I don't know.
He can't sit out. If he goes to a quarterback needy team, he's going to play, I think.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think
actually
this year for the Patriots is going to be a year of rebuilding. So I don't know from this year.
Yeah, it'll be. Your sound just cut out for a second, Matt.
It sounded, and then
it says Triss's browser preventing recording.
Oh, she's frozen.
Hold on. We'll just take. Do you want to text her really fast and see if she can?
Let me tell her. I'll say you frozen.
Oh, you got it. It says just
you frozen, girlfriend. Frozen.
Matt says refresh browser.
That's what it's telling me.
Browser.
Gotta love technical difficulties on this show.
I said refresh browsers.
That's right.
The thing about Caleb Williams now that we're is he is one of those guys who thinks that everything is going to come easy to him. And I don't see him as a hard worker. I don't see him staying after practice.
I agree with that.
To throw to the receivers.
I agree with you, actually. That's a good point.
Lamar Jackson is he represented himself, and it didn't cost him money, but it was a really difficult process for him. Because
it was.
When you represent
but also
yourself,
he was a proven entity, and he was proven, and look how hard it was.
True. Yes, great point. And the team themselves, they have professional negotiators that have done this their entire life, and they're going up against the guy who just plays quarterback. They're going to win.
Right, like his dad played in the league, so that makes him capable of being an agent. No, man. Trish said her computer turned off, so she's got to reboot it.
Oh, because she was losing power.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point about him, Matt. I didn't think about the part. He doesn't seem like the type of guy willing to put in the extra work to really be elite. And because you have to develop chemistry with your receivers and stuff like that too. And is he going to do that? I mean, look at the way, like, I'll use this because I'm just so familiar with it, but like Matthew Stafford with Cooper Kupp have that relationship. They brought Puka into it. Puka basically observed them and was like, I want to be in there. So at first he asked if he could come with them to breakfast, and he would just sit there and listen. And then it was like, but this is like all the extra hours and time that they're putting in beyond what they need to be doing. That's why he had such a good year, and he had such a connection with Matthew, is because that extra stuff, it's like, those are like intangibles in your work ethic that translate, even if you don't know how, right? It's like the water polo kids team, that how they want to go to games together and eat together and do all this other stuff together. It helps them in the pool.
It's like the Padres team.
Right. If they like each other, hanging out.
Yeah. Or the one thing, like, Annabelle, I know we talked about this before too. So on the Kelsey Brothers podcast, New Heights, they've talked about with their mom and their dad about how their parents instilled in them, like, hey, if you want to get better, you got to go ask the coach. You've got to take that initiative yourself and do the work yourself, right? We're not going to get involved, and we're not going to do this. Right. And I kind of feel like with his parents, these parents being involved,
it's the opposite.
You're opposite of that. And what you made a good point just now of, you have to be like also involved with the team, like, and do things outside of just being on the field. And how does that, you build those relationships and that tightness where then it translates to, like, you see that with Kelsey and Mahomes too, right? You see them, like, they hang out all the time not all the time, but they go out and they do other things together.
Right. Having those relationships does make a difference, I think. Yeah. And you can see in some of those really successful quarterback wide receiver relationships, like the one with, Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Puka. Like, it's so obvious that these dudes have something there. And it's because, but you have to be self-motivated. Like, Puka saw this and recognized it and saw what it was and how good it was and was like, I want to do that. Can I hang out with you guys? Like, I want to go hang out with these guys. And he did it. And he put in all that extra work and then has a record-breaking season in many ways. I think you have to be self-motivated. And that's how with my kids with sports, that's how we talk about it. It's like, you have to want to do this because it's a lot of money and time for me. I'll do it if you're motivated, but if you're not, that's okay, but we're just not going to do it. We're not going to half-ass this stuff, you know?
Yeah, and you can't be their advocate either. They need to be their own advocate.
No,
at some point,
exactly.
especially at this age in high school. I'm like,
Right.
I'm not going to go talk to, well, even
no coach wants to talk to your parents. Yeah. No coach wants your parents to approach them to ask about your kids' playing time or anything else. They want to see the kids are motivated and willing to do the work, not that the parents. They want to see the parents there in the stands supporting them and bringing snacks. That's pretty much it.
Yep. Well, and even my middle schooler is going to say that he wrestles, and I'm like, hey, you want to get better, then you need to take that initiative, talk to the coach about like what you can do extra, what other extra like camps do they have this summer, or the one-on-one coaching, and you need to ask about that. I could do it for you, but I'm not going to. That teaches you no responsibility in the sport for yourself. It's the same thing. It's like Kayla Williams, like, what are you going to take your dad down and he's going to like rub your back or whatever? I mean, do you need your mom there to give you an effing bottle too? I mean, come on. Yeah. It's like,
that's ridiculous.
Cut the effing cord at some point. He's an adult. Let him stand alone as an adult. Otherwise, what are you teaching him?
Well, I think that a lot of parents, I saw somebody talking about this recently, and it sort of, I could get it. Like parents, it's not us because we were still latchkey kids growing up, right? Mm-hmm. But it's us as parents and the people a little bit older than us. They were talking about how a lot of these people are like traumatized from being latchkey kids. So they just overcorrected. And instead they're like, oh, we don't want anyone to break their spirit and all this nonsense, where I'm like, sometimes they need their spirit broken because they're being you know what. You know, you got.
I mean, I didn't overdo it the other way.
No, exactly. And it's like people that don't want to be. They didn't punish their kids ever. They didn't want to use the word no. Like those. Those kind of parents are raising the Caleb Williams type people that aren't really accountable for themselves. I mean, I may be being too harsh about him. I mean, he's still a kid, and I don't hate him or anything. The attitude from the parents is what's more bizarre than anything. And they're clearly the ones that are shaping him.
And maybe it needs to be not so much focused on him, but his parents, right? Like, hey, parent,
I think his parents are
back the F off, let him become an adult, because all you're doing is you're creating this,
it's like a codependency with weird emotions and stuff. Like, it's just bizarre to me.
And what are you going to do? Like when he finally gets married someday and cuts the cord. He wants nothing to do with you, right?
Well, his mom could just go on the honeymoon with him, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
What was that show? Was it Lotus? What is that show, Lotus?
Yeah.
White Lotus? Yeah. And it's like the second one where she's like having breakfast on. They're in I start with the first one in Hawaii. Yeah. The second one. The first one.
The second one's in Europe, I think.
Okay, the first one's in Hawaii, right? And she's sitting there with her husband, and then the mom shows up like, "Hey!" I would die.
God.
I'd be like, "We're getting divorced right here."
It's so weird. You think that can't be real, but I see there's a funny subreddit. It's like called Just Know MIL. Uh-huh. And it's like all the mother-in-law horror stories, and this kind of thing is so common. It's wild.
Well, and that's like at high school, right? Like at high school, they have like a back to school night. They have like, you can, what is it? Back to school
like
night?
A lock-in.
What else do they do? Where you can go in and like meet the teacher and see how the kids are doing. No. I mean, they just had that one, or even back to school night. Like that didn't exist when we were in high school. My parents did not know anything about the teachers, and the teachers are in there like, well, if you have a question, you can email me. And I'm like, I am never emailing you.
No, never, because
we are never talking.
Right. If my child is struggling in your class, then they have to come to you, not me.
Yes.
I'm not involved at all. I don't go to any of that stuff because why would I? What are they? I mean, the principal's just talking about make sure your kids don't take fentanyl and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm on that. I'm reminding them all the time about not taking pills. I don't need anything else from you.
Yeah. I don't want to know about who the teachers are. Like, that's your thing. No. Because otherwise you're going to, all I'm going to do is if I do that, if I get involved at this age and handhold you, it's like, I'm setting you up for failure. You're not going to be an independent adult.
Right. And I can't have that because I'm not one of those parents that's going to be like having 24 and 25-year-olds living with me. Like, absolutely no.
You're 18. Yep. Army,
I'm moving to the
college.
south of France and I'm getting a little cottage in a village. There's not going to be room to have two other 20-something-year-olds living there full time.
Yes. So will you parents, you need to back off. Let your child grow and flourish and make their own mistakes. and stop holding his freaking hand or bottle feeding him. I mean, are you
Right.
going to do his laundry too? I mean, that's kind of
Oh,
weird.
God.
I
That
mean,
is
what are you
super
going to do when
weird.
he's got groupies all around him? You going to be sitting in there?
Oh my God. I have a friend. Her husband's mother-in-law is very clingy and super inappropriate and weird. And so this was a long time ago, but she walked in and her mother-in-law was there visiting. Her mother-in-law was like in the laundry room doing something. And my friend was like trying to figure out what she was doing. And she overheard the dad tell the mom, "Stop that. You hated when your mom did that." And the mom was like, "Let me do my thing." And what she was doing was she was in the laundry room folding her son's clothes, not his wife's clothes, only his. And they were washed together. So she separated out the wife's clothes and left them in the basket, folded the son's clothes.
Oh, that's exactly what my mother-in-law would have done too if she was at the house, like
100%.
watching the kids. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's crazy. Crazy.
Poindexter's mother-in-law will be like, "Okay, I'm going to bring dinner for everyone." And she'll ask everyone and she'll bring dinner for everyone but Poindexter.
Dang.
Still to this day. And you've been married almost 20 years.
Yeah. That's why I just ignore her at this point. I'm like,
Yeah.
You're a good wife and a good mom. I don't know why. That's
She's
so weird.
because her son was taken away from her,
Haters.
Triss. Can't you sympathize? This evil woman took her baby boy from her.
No, fucking, I hope somebody does take one of my baby boys and
Please.
teaches them how
Yes.
to fucking take care of themselves.
Exactly. Please,
Right.
please, please take
Listening
this
to me.
child. Have a great life. I will be happy for you and support you. And
like I will never.
I
be
will
like
absolutely
that.
support them because they're going to need the support after being
Right.
like all these things that they do. Like, it's okay. Trust me.
Exactly.
Okay, we got to get back on to number 4.
Four.
I like this one. JJ McCarthy.
You like him?
Well, I mean, I just want to talk about him.
Okay.
It'd be interesting because he comes from Michigan, right?
Smallest hands in the draft.
I was going to say, how big are the hands?
Let me see. I got to check it out.
His
How
are the
big are
9-inch
his hands?
ones or something.
He's definitely, it's a
He has
no.
porcelain doll hands.
He can't catch the ball with those 9-inch hands. What are they thinking? They got
Right?
no, they can't.
Matt, you're gonna have to put up a picture of like tiny doll hands when we're talking about it, like just doing something weird.
Okay, some of the NFL scouts are just like, hey, he's already like a pro ready-made quarterback because of his coach from last year. I mean,
except that he only threw the ball 8 times a game, and they rushed almost every time. So.
Exactly, and so that did not go unmistaken by or unseen by these scouts too, because they're like, oh, when it actually comes down to like him doing something, it's like, what's he doing?
He's a game manager. That's what he should be called.
How is he up there in the top ones if he's
because
not even...
this always happens with quarterbacks because teams need quarterbacks. There's only so many that are good. So what are you going to do? These are your options. And so they end up going higher than they should, a lot of them. I mean, I don't know. He's got some issues, I'd say. I mean, is his head coach going to draft him? No.
His coach from last year?
Yep. Because his coach from last year is now the Chargers coach. Granted, they don't need a quarterback.
But wait, John.
But I did like this quote, and I like this one, and it was from an assistant coach that says, he uses his whole body to throw the ball. He's like, and my shoulder hurts watching him throw the ball. Everything's a fastball. He's not accurate, even on completed passes, shorter throws.
Right.
He slows his guys down and
he doesn't throw in the middle of the field.
Yes. Yeah. So,
like, you need to be able to throw on those crossing routes in the middle of the field. I'm sorry, but at the NFL level, you're going to have those.
Yeah.
That needs to happen.
Wait, how tall is he? They're saying he's a small man. Oh, and the one thing we do need to talk about is a small man. I would not want to be. I mean, I know.
We're calling him JJ Baby Hands McCarthy. Is that what we're calling him?
But he's 6'2".
Yeah.
He's 6'2", so he's a little bit taller than some of the other previous
He's taller
ones.
than Caleb.
Yes.
And he's not skinny. He's not skinny like Jane Daniels.
Yeah. Okay.
Does he have a booty though? I don't know. It felt weird. I was actually trying to Google pictures of some of these guys that I didn't watch play a lot, and it felt creepy to be like trying to look for college kids' butts.
Try and get booty shots.
I just was like, I got to abandon this. I mean, it matters more in terms of like every other player than
he could just get a BBL and it'd be good.
Oh my god, you guys! Fernando, the other day, the Padres were playing at the Dodgers, and Fernando Tatis, he's like one of the superstars. He plays right field. He's got a booty. the Dodgers fans who usually fight everyone and they're horrible haters, but they were chanting BBL, BBL at Tatis, and he turned around, like looks at his butt and gives it a little wave. It was cute.
Let's get a little twerk action on the field.
Yeah, exactly. And then they all cheered and laughed. I was like, that's probably the most wholesome thing the Dodgers fans have ever done in their lives to the opposing team, honestly.
Okay, so getting back to McCarthy, do you guys know he does battle depression? So, but he is pretty open about that. So I do kind of like the fact that he doesn't hide that, right?
I don't see that as a downside for somebody that clearly has managed to find ways to work with it and still be successful. Like he does like mindfulness stuff. I think he like meditates under the goalpost. I mean, I don't know if him putting it out there like that is performative or not. It could be, look at me. I'm going to sit here and do this. I would do that in the locker room, but I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a drawback because he clearly knows how to manage it. Do you know what I mean?
Also, at the same time, I feel like we should have discussions because a lot of people deal with depression, right? And
yeah, absolutely.
And I think,
me.
Yeah. And it's just easy not easy, but it's just nice to see that people are just like, hey, this is like an everyday thing that people deal with. And I know how to like you said, I know how to manage it.
Yeah. It's not abnormal. And I think a lot of people have mental health issues. They just never talk about it. So I have no problem with that part of it. I think that could be really good. And I mean, ultimately, like one of the things that Kirby Smart did at Georgia was they implemented all these mindfulness practices with the football team. And that's one of the things that he has credited for really taking them to the next level is being focused on mental health and your awareness and all that stuff and doing the mindfulness. So I fully support all that stuff, even if I don't totally understand it.
Well, I didn't even know that was a thing until I watched the quarterback show on Netflix. And then Kirk Cousins, when he was with the Vikings, he had like a therapist that he would go in and talk to or a psychologist. And I thought that's actually really interesting that he could actually, which to me, I'm like, that's good because there's so much going on. Yeah. And these guys are under so much pressure all the time. Right. And it's like, how do you, if you have an outlet to talk to somebody
when
about
he really highlighted how what you have to do to train to be successful in such high pressure situations, that you have to train yourself to handle things like that, right? It's not, I mean, a lot of it comes natural to them. Like there's certain personalities that are born leaders and that thrive under pressure, but that you can improve those things by working on them very carefully, with therapists, by like basically training yourself to be good in high pressure situations. So I thought that was actually cool that he talked about that because I'd never heard anybody talk about that before. Doesn't mean they haven't. I just never heard it, but I've never
heard it either. So I thought that was good. It was something different, right?
Yeah.
And it made me like him a little bit more because I'm like, I like it when people are more honest and open about like their lives and maybe some of the struggles that they have to go through. Otherwise, you see like, I mean, we all know they have struggles. It's just so many people keep a curtain up of like, oh, it's wonderful and great.
Right. Like if you have depression, I mean, for a lot of people, it's the same as if you have diabetes or arthritis. Like you just have it. It's not like mine is not because I'm sad about something. It's just like a thing that happens with chemicals in my brain. So what do you do about it? I mean, you have to manage it. And at this point in my life, I successfully manage it and it doesn't like affect my life negatively. But if people never talk about it, then that's a problem. If they think no one else has those, especially in the sports world, I'm sure it's harder to be open about things that people could call you for. Oh, bleep that out, Matt, please.
A wussy for.
A baby.
Okay, let's go to our
last one.
Michael
Penix.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how do you pronounce his last name?
Penix. Honestly, I can't. I'm never really sure.
Penix.
Okay.
It's
Washington.
Big Penix energy is what they say.
Yes, that's right.
Well, then I need to know how big his hands are now.
It sounds better. Big Penix.
How big are his hands? I don't know.
I don't know. Let me go back and see. Did they even say in here? Like, okay. He's kind of a big boy, 6'2", almost a little over 6'2", 216. He's okay. But he's had a lot of injuries. That's
what I was going to say. Yeah. He's injury prone. I never really paid any attention or knew about him until this year, watching him with Washington. So I don't know. It just seems, I don't know what was that hand signal, Matt? You just signaled something. I don't know.
Oh, I was going to say, man, this guy might have the biggest hands in the draft. So we need to get him on a team. He's got 10.5 hands.
Whoa,
10.5 hands.
Damn. Wait, what was his name again?
Michael Penix.
I know.
We're going to call him Penix.
Penix. I'm going to say Penix.
Okay, where all we're saying is that women can be immature too.
very true.
Come on, it's right there for us to do. I don't understand how you.
You're just gonna hit it over the plate.
My question for you three is: do you think his name? Honestly, how can you market a guy named Michael Penix Jr.? You can't market a guy with penis in his last name.
Well, we'll see how high he goes in the draft. Where's he projected to go anyway in the draft? Second
He's
round?
either round 1 or 2. They're not really saying.
No, he's not round 1. I mean, he might.
See, but
be,
this is a good example of people lighting up JJ McCarthy, but actually Michael Penix had a great career. He's a great player. He played in the national championship game, and people are saying that he's just too inaccurate. Like, I would much rather draft a guy than JJ McCarthy.
I agree completely, because here's the thing. Michigan beat Washington. JJ McCarthy did not beat Michael Penix Jr. Michael Penix Jr. was out there trying to be a freaking hero, and he didn't have enough supporting staff to make him a hero, is how I feel about it. I watched that game, and Michigan just beat them down with the run game because they could. Who knows what would have happened if they had to throw the ball. I would pick him if I needed a quarterback over JJ McCarthy.
Well, and he was a Heisman Trophy runner-up too, right? So, I mean, he's pretty good.
No, he had a great year.
Well, and they're also saying he was one of the most productive passers in college football last season.
I thought his completion percentage was really high, no? Maybe not. Matt said he wasn't very accurate. I can't remember.
But the thing is, he has suffered 4 consecutive season-ending
every year
injuries.
He's had, and I think he's had 2 ACLs.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know how that's going to
affect. Is that like a matter of just not being protected well? Like, maybe if
not necessarily, but it can be. But also, it can be your training. Like, there's ways to train. You know, there's some players you see that do certain things and never get injured, and it's like, how can that be? There's ways to train people. Like, remember how after last year, Tua went through basically like martial arts training to learn how to fall? That type of thing you have to do specific to yourself so you can fall without getting a concussion every time you get tackled. Yeah. So there's and I don't understand them all. I'm not a trainer, but there's ways that you train specific people for specific positions that helps reduce risk of injury. So he probably just needs whatever that is. He needs to be trained differently, maybe. I mean, it also could just be a fluke, you know? Like, look how Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers' seasons were ended on complete fluke nothings. They didn't do anything wrong.
If you look at, like, I don't want to go back to them, but Mahomes and then Tom Brady, like, they've acted just because they're on television and they've done documentaries or styles about them. Their trainers are very much into, like, whole body movements, right? Of like,
and that's what Pat did, because he basically didn't have an ankle for the entire Super Bowl run last year.
Yes.
And the way he trained was to compensate and basically be able to function without an ankle.
Yeah.
That was how
But if you look at the way he trains in general, it's not just and if you watch the documentary of the Dynasty, and it went through this whole thing with Tom Brady and his trainer and how Belichick hated having his trainer around. But his trainer was more about like this whole body. I don't even remember what it's called, but it was like a whole body movement where we're just not going to be in there lifting weights. I want you to be able to be flexible and mobile, like in different situations. So we're going to train your body in all these different, like 360 like degree ranges. Right. And Belichick didn't really understand that, but
right. Cause he's like the old guard. And of course they don't, of course they don't understand.
Or something?
Well, no, it's just more like this dynamic training that's focusing on like just powerlifting. Powerlifting isn't giving you all of what you need. You need to be strong. Yeah. But it's like when you see guys training, you'll notice they have like 75 different exercises they might do with one arm and one band, because there's all kinds of different things everywhere that need to be strengthened. And then specific to your position, how you move and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's the way my physical therapist basically trains people, not for sports, but for functioning in your life. But it's focused on the areas you need to strengthen for whatever you need to do.
Yeah. Like our rotation, right? Like Mahomes' trainer talks about like his, like just having that rotation in both his arms on both sides of his body so he can move. And he's like, what did he say? He's like, I don't want to quote him, but because I'll totally mess it up. But his range of motion, like on both sides of his body, is pretty equal, and he's never seen that, right? So the way he can turn and actually, like I think from left to right or right to left is equal, and it's like that's uncommon for in the NFL.
Right, and those types of things help protect him when certain things happen to you and you might otherwise have a season-ending injury. I mean, those injuries still happen sometimes, but there's definitely you wonder about guys that are super injury prone. Like, are they being not training correctly? You know what I mean? And who knows?
Okay. Well, I will say oh, I can't hear you either, Matt, but you said his name, is it marketable? But like, I have that shirt. She loves the D. It could be she loves the Penix.
Oh, I like that one.
I feel
loves
like
the
there's
P.
something there for him. Yeah, there's definitely something there for him, for all the dirty-minded women who
just lean into it and be like, whatever. I mean,
okay, so yeah, so I think next week we should maybe talk about like review the draft picks, and then we can talk about that and see how.
Are we back on or no?
Yeah, we're back on now.
Oh, okay.
So next week we should talk about the draft picks, what our draft picks mean for our teams, for the Chiefs, for the Rams, and for the Miamis, for the Dolphins. Hello, I am so rattled because of my freaking camera. Blah. I was doing good until the camera cut out. And
blah 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 blah.
I mean, my producer can put up my bobblehead,
right?
Going back and forth.
That's funny.
Little,
your bobblehead should have had a pumpkin as a head.
I know. It's
God,
it's too,
what a missed opportunity.
It's too just square, like harsh on the jaw. Because I'm like, I have a pumpkin head. Look, see.
For those of you who don't know, I'm not being mean. Mr. Poindexter's nickname for her, he always calls her his pumpkin-headed wife because she has a head shaped like a pumpkin, and so it's not an insult. And ultimately I call her pumpkin all the time now too. You know how these things just happen, so that's why we say that. We're not being mean.
I will say having a round face is an advantage because
it helps with aging. I think
it does. It does.
You're not gonna have some long droopy face like me with a big long weird oval.
Push it up. I push it up at night.
I'm gonna get a little mini facelift or something. No, I'm not cutting my face. That's crazy.
Oh, I have no problem doing that in like 10 years from now.
No, I don't want my face cut up. I would get other body parts cut up, not my face.
10 years from now, tighten all that up.
That terrifies me. You're gonna cut my face off and sew it back up?
No, there is a really good plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills that he specializes just in.
I know. There's great surgeons. It just
face
the idea
yoga
of that terrifies me.
Face yoga and gua sha, you'll be okay.
Just don't run or do anything that's like
that's
extreme,
ridiculous.
like aerobics. Well, it does push your face down.
Well, I will say people that get Botox have to get it more frequently if they're in the gym and stuff, because it does affect the longevity of it. So I don't know if it's because of something like of how it's pulling and all these things, but I'm just saying.
I'm really bummed I can't get Botox anymore because I'm allergic to it. I don't know what I'm going to do when it wears off. I'm going to have huge wrinkles on my forehead. It's awful.
We could throw some tape up there.
I'll be like, well, I said I wasn't going to cut my face, so I'm just going to use some duct tape right here and just...
Some frownies. They have, I'm going to send you some stuff, girl.
Brownies?
Frownies? No, well, brownies, they might...
Brownies or frownies?
Face? That'd be awesome.
Frownies. They're like these little patches that basically help your muscles in different...
Is it like collagen patches or...
No, they're essentially keeping your skin a little, I don't know. I'll have to send you the link. But
taut.
They work pretty well. Yeah, they keep it taut.
Tighten
it up. Yeah.
All right. I think so next week, let's talk all things about like the draft. I think that will be good. We didn't get to,
we didn't talk about gambling again. Still.
I know, but we will, we'll have some time and we'll when we have time, we'll kind of throw that in, I think.
Okay.
Make sure that stays in, Matt. Her just silently screaming.
Because I'm about ready to lose it. Throw this. So that wraps up another episode of Irrational Moms talking about the draft and all things, the top 5 quarterbacks that we see going somewhere. We'll see how it shakes out on Thursday, I guess.
You know who my favorite who I really want, I can't wait to see where Kool-Aid McKinstry goes, because I want a guy named Kool-Aid on my team so bad.
Oh, me too. Me too. Is he?
He's a first rounder, most likely, late first round. So I
love that.
I know he's a defensive back, or he's a cornerback. I think a defensive back.
I love that name. Whoever came up with that name, that's awesome.
It was his grandma. His name's something else, but she gave him the nickname Kool-Aid when he was little. He's from the South, of course. So, I don't feel like people out of the South would ever name their kids that,
I don't think my kids have ever had Kool-Aid.
What?
I was gonna say if
what's
mine
the best
had, it
is
was
when
at
you
your
mix
house because I don't make
the
the
packet
Oh, no,
and the
we have-
sugar
we
and a little
have
bit
had
of
it at
water.
my house.
That's
Because I've given your kids everything you will not allow them
Right.
to have.
She gave my kids their first Chick-fil-A,
McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
first soda. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Mhm. Come on, you gotta like live a little. Here's some fries from McDonald's. Oh, it's so good. They have the best fries.
Well,
All
at
right,
this-
we are totally
yeah.
digressing off of what we need
Yep.
to do by wrapping it up.
I'm
You
hungry.
can follow
though,
us.
so.
Yes, I'm gonna go get some popcorn. You can follow Irrational Moms at irrationalmoms.com, or you can follow us on Spotify or Apple.
And if you just go to YouTube and type in Irrational Moms, you'll get our page.
Yeah, and I am just
Yes.
out of it today
Blah,
because
blah, blah.
I'm about ready to like.
Blah, blah.
I'm just gonna toss everything there.
And we'll be back with more snacks.